So good evening, everybody. Welcome to this stream. It's the first time I've done a live broadcast on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously for probably a couple of years in this format anyway. I used to do a lot of them like this at one point, but I can see Dennis has said hello from Wales and Maria from the northeast of England, and I think we've got quite a few other folks with us as well. So welcome wherever you are in the world. My name is Philip Wade. And I've got a friend, Jolene, helping with the moderation tonight, just in case I can't pick up on all the comments. She's in the background, but can hear everything that's going on. And Ben is also helping out on YouTube. So tonight's stream is a return to love. Oh, hello, Sandy. A long time no see. Welcome to you. I've actually done this stream. Excuse me, I'm going to take this off here. I've actually done this stream a couple of times already on Insight Timer, but I thought I'd run it on YouTube and Facebook as well. It might be slightly different tonight if you joined the other two, and it's always, this subject benefits from repetition, so don't worry if you've been on previous ones. I've also can see Stefan has joined us from Sweden, so welcome to you. So the subject, as I say, is Return to Love, partly inspired by the book of the same name by Marianne Williamson. And that in turn was based on A Course in Miracles. Not that I've read A Course in Miracles, it's a fairly dense book. But really, self-realization is all about a return to love. And what I'd like to do tonight is to take you on a journey, which will begin with a meditation, which will be what I refer to as the infinite silence meditation. Some of you may be new to that. Some of you may have experienced it many times. So I'll give you a brief overview to that because it's always benefits from a bit of insight as to what meditation's really about. And within that meditation, once I've guided you, I'll be inviting some key inquiries. And the key with these inquiries, spiritual inquiries, based around the question, who am I, isn't to try and analyze it from the mind. It's simply to let that question float into the space and see if anything emerges for you. Not to think about, but just simply to see what emerges for you. And if something comes, whether it's an insight, a word, a visual, a vision, just be with that. There's nothing that you have to do. Just let that be there, and we'll get a chance to explore some of that later at the end of the meditation. The other part is I'll explain the meditation itself. So if I just do that now, and in fact, I'm going to do a little bit of a trial. You can probably see the fiber optic lamp I've got in my hand here, but I'm also going to see, just bear me a moment, folks, a little bit of technology here. If I can, there we go, fiber optic lamp. Sorry, do it another way. Okay, so you're just going to have to see that fiber optic lamp there with me in the background. I'll just turn off my camera for a moment. Oh, we've now got two versions on the screen. I'm not quite sure why that is. But anyway, you can see the fiber optic lamp there on the screen, and the essence of meditation is really captured in this fiber optic lamp metaphor, which originally came to my wife, but I've developed it quite a lot over the years. But if you can imagine that your body-mind experience is one of the points of light at the end of the fibers that you can see on the screen there, then most of us live our lives looking out into the world, and if all the other points of light on the fiber optic at the ends of the fibers are separate body minds, then we live in a world of separation where I am separate from you and from the next person and so on. And we're always looking outward into the world, and the world can feel a fairly scary place at times when you look at it that way. Now, the whole meditative journey, the whole self-realization journey is really what I call a turning point. It's about turning the viewpoint around, and in the metaphor, looking down the filament towards where that blue light is at the base of the lamp there. So that's turning the viewpoint around. And we can see instantly in the metaphor that all of the light in the filaments, comes from this one source at the base, this one source at the base. And that, in spiritual terms, that light at the base, I'll refer to in the meditation as spheres, as in balls or spheres of light. And when we get to that point in the meditation, I'll simply be inviting you to be open from your heart to the experience of the spheres. And then I'll go quiet for probably about a couple of minutes. I don't want you to try and do anything at that point. I don't want you to try and visualize anything. Just simply be open. And that I do it that way because that's how it came to me in 2011. And that's how originally I used to share it. And it used to have quite a big impact on people. So that bit at the base, that blue light there, is representing spheres or spheres of light, is also the equivalent to the pure state I am. I am. Now this I am is not a personal I am. It's an infinite I. It's actually the pure beingness of the universe. Infinite I am, pure being. And in the Eastern tradition, or in India in particular, you would know that as Hiranyagarbha, otherwise known as the golden egg of creation or the golden womb of creation. And that's a very, very pure energy to connect with. And that's what that invitation to open from your heart is, to connect with that. And then the meditation will go further beyond that, because as pure as that energy is of spheres or spheres of light, as pure as it is, it's a phenomenon that can be witnessed or seen from within. And the only essence that's deep enough, profound enough, powerful enough to be able to do that is, in fact, what I'll refer to as the silent witness in infinite silence. The silent witness in infinite silence. And you'll be being invited at that point just to recognize and witness this state I am. And then I'll take the meditation a little bit further still. But on the metaphor itself, what it's representative of, right at the very base, I don't know if you can see the pointer here on my screen. It doesn't matter if you can, but right at the very base of the lamp, there's a little sort of silvery bit there, and that houses in the lamp the batteries. That houses the batteries. And that's representative of the power that drives the lamp, or in spiritual terms, the power of the universe itself, which is infinite silence, also known as infinite consciousness, infinite awareness. And so the meditation is about opening to and recognizing this unchanging, pure silence awareness at the base of the lamp. Now, this actually, in truth, the metaphor is a limitation there, isn't actually limited in location, it's actually everywhere. So that's a limitation in the metaphor. But it's a good visual to give you an idea of what this infinite silence meditation is about. So once we've got to that point in the meditation and I've given you some more guidance and so forth, at some point I'm going to invite you to look at these inquiry questions. And as I say, I don't want you to try and analyze these. I simply see what emerges. And if something emerges, that's great. And if nothing emerges, that's also great. Just simply be with that. And then eventually we'll bring the meditation to a close, see if anybody's got anything that they want to share. And depending upon that or any general questions you've got, we'll see where we go from there. So I'll just say another hello to Julie, who I've seen us, so welcome to you. I haven't seen a long time no see for you as well, so I'm glad to see you here. So if we're all good with that, I'm going to get started with the meditation shortly. So I'll take that off the screen. So I've just got a few things to click on here. Is it this one? No, that's the wrong one. There we go. So, folks, there we go. Okay, good. So we're back on screen. And I can see Alex has joined us from Cumbria as well. So welcome to you, Alex. Perfect timing, because we're just about to start the meditation and I know that you're familiar with it. So if you're ready, folks, just get yourselves nice and comfortable and simply and silently closing your eyes. And just becoming aware of whatever's here for you now. Whether it be feelings, emotions, sensations, the breath, and just simply, silently accept all of that without any judgment. Just let all of that be here now. Just like you're watching a movie from the inside. Just silently witnessing whatever's here. Nothing you have to do. Just watch. And as you simply, silently witness these phenomena, just be open now. From your heart. To the experience of the energy of the spheres. Your heart-based intention to connect with the spheres or spheres of light. Nothing to visualize, just be open. And we'll remain silent for a few minutes now. Just resting in this, being open to the energy of the spheres or spheres of light. And this energy of spheres or spheres of light is the same as the pure universal state. I am. I am. And as pure as this energy is, even this can be witnessed or sensed from a deeper place. The silent witness in infinite silence. Becoming one with this silent witnessing presence. That sees the state I am. Merging with this. And as you merge deeply with this silent witnessing presence, it too is dissolving, just like a sliver of ice in an ocean of water. It's melting, dissolving, becoming one with the water. And the water is an ocean of infinite silence, infinite awareness, completely dissolving now, becoming one with the silent awareness of infinite silence. Be still and know this awareness. this stillness, this silence. This rarefied atmosphere of silence transforms, transmutes, dissolves all that you are not. Effortlessly, silently, melting, dissolving, in this, through this, as this, silent awareness. Nothing you have to do to be this. Simply, silently present, aware. Be still and know. Effortlessly, silently, eternally aware. Never has there been a time when you were not this awareness, this silence. And as you rest in, through, and as this silent awareness, just open now to these inquiries. Just let them float into awareness. Nothing to analyze. And just see what, if anything, emerges. First, asking the question inside, who am I? Who am I? And just rest with that. And now we'll open to this inquiry, asking inside, who am I with nothing to prove? Who am I with nothing to prove? Just resting with that. Nothing to analyze, just let it be there. And now we'll ask inside, who am I before relationships. Who am I before relationships? And now we'll ask inside, who am I before this body, mind? Who am I before this body, mind? And again, just rest with that. No analysis. Simply, silently, effortlessly, eternally aware, pure stillness, silence. Now, always this effortless, silent awareness is here. In silence, you will realize truth. In truth, you will realize you are silence, infinite silence. infinite awareness. Be still and know this. And as you continue to rest in this, in a moment, I'll ring the Tingsha bells. And as the sound of the bells faded to silence, just remaining aware of your body, aware of the chair you're sat in, or whatever you may be lay on. Aware of the space. And whenever the moment is right for you, just simply, silently open your eyes. Good. Good. So I'll just play a little bit of harp for a minute or two, and then we'll see if anybody's got anything to ask or share from the meditation. Good. So that harp music was by my friend Tara Cook. So thank you to her for that. So let's have a look now and see. That was the Infinite Silence meditation with some inbuilt inquiries into that, with the aim of opening you up and seeing what emerged there. So I just wanted to see if there's anything that came to you or you want to ask from that meditation, or indeed any of your spiritual inquiry questions, anything to do with your journey, self-realization. You can pop into the comments there now. So let's just see if anybody's got anything there for a moment. Anything that came to you, anything that you want to ask. And if you haven't got anything, what I'll share with you, just bear with me a moment, I'm going to find another little slide here. Another little metaphor for self-realization and the meditation. So you can still put your comments up there. Just bear me a second, I just need to get rid of the banner whilst we show that. So this is something that cropped up in the meditation in a slightly different way. I first covered this on a stream back in 2018 when I felt a call yesterday to sort of build this graphic. And it's just, I call it the iceberg metaphor, and it's just another way of looking at self-realization. What you can see here in the center of the screen, I don't know if you can see the pointer or not, is just a hand-drawn sketch of an iceberg with 9/10 of it below the water, and the rest of it, 1/10, is above the water there. Now, the body-mind experience that we have is like this. Basically, the belief that all I am is this body-mind is a belief in separation, just like in the fiber optic metaphor I shared with you earlier. And it's that single mistaken belief that all you are is the body-mind that's at the root of separation and therefore suffering, because that creates a polarity between of love and fear. And what we call the emotional body or the pain body grows from that mistaken belief, along with our childhood and indeed adulthood experiences of trauma and conditioning. And it's that belief, that single core belief, that leads to the experience of suffering. That it basically is the source of all suffering. And you don't need to believe me on this. As this is realized, it becomes capital self-evident, capital S self-evident. Now, the journey of self-realization is about moving from that mistaken belief on the left-hand side of the diagram here, through the power of this silence, infinite awareness, which basically acts as a universal solvent. A universal solvent. This will dissolve all of the mistaken beliefs, and indeed has the power to dissolve the central part of the iceberg here, the pain body, purely through the power of awareness. If you think of every phenomena in life as a vibration, just like the Tingsha bells when I rang them, without any further input, any vibration will return to silence. And basically every phenomena in the universe is a vibration. And that's why silence, which I'm equating with awareness, will ultimately dissolve all phenomena. And so no matter how big this iceberg is of belief, the ocean of silence is infinite, and therefore it has the power to dissolve everything that you are not, and that you come to the right-hand side of the diagram where we're dissolving the belief in separation, that all I am is the body-mind, to come to self-realization, experiential liberation. And that's the recognition that you are, in fact, the ocean of infinite silence or infinite awareness. Just through the power of that awareness alone. That's all that's necessary. And that, my friends, is the essence of self-realization and is the essence of meditation, is to recognize that unchanging, excuse me, just having a quick drink here. Recognize and then realize that you are this unchanging awareness or infinite silence. That's what self-realization is about. That's what meditation is about. And that ultimately is also what your life is about. And it's not about believing me, it's about realizing this. So this is a very powerful little metaphor just on the screen here, which captures, it's just another way of looking at the journey of self-realization. So I'm going to leave that up there for a little while, and I'm going to look at these comments that we've got on the stream now. I think I can see them all okay, Jolene, so I'll go off the written comments, and if I need your help, I'll come back to you on that. So Alex is saying, for who am I before relationship? The response was love, which is the most hilariously unremarkable yet extraordinary thing. I absolutely love that, Alex, because that's exactly why I included that inquiry in there. Who am I before relationship? And Alex got love. What Alex's insight is there and experience is there is showing what one of the key things that I'm pointing at is that actually the source of love isn't to be found in another. That doesn't mean we don't love our friends, family, husbands, wives, partners, or whatever. But actually the source of love is within. The source of love is within. And so that asking who am I before relationship, because we tend to define ourselves by our relationship, then we're opening to the deeper truth that actually that very source of love is the infinite silence, the infinite awareness, the infinite essence that we already are, and that this body-mind experience that we have, it's like a car. You might have a car, but you're not your car. And so this body-mind experience you have is like that car. It is something that you have, but it's not that which you are. So Alex is saying here, what came to him from the silence awareness is the recognition that actually he is that, we are that. And it goes on to say it's hilarious and unremarkable and yet extraordinary. I love these adjectives that you're using to describe that, because if I go back to my fiber optic metaphor here, excuse me, bring it across. What it's saying is that this infinite silence represented by the battery here at the base, which is actually everywhere, the perfume of that, just like a rose has a perfume, the perfume of that is in fact love, peace, grace, silence, awareness. So this insight that came to Alex during the meditation is a direct seeing of that, and I'm delighted that that's emerged for him, and it's also given me the opportunity to point that out to you. For that is why that inquiry was there. Who am I before relationships? And what it's shown is that we are collectively, our essence is the source of love. So thanks very much for sharing that, Alex. And I think I've just realized we can put those questions on the screen. We can, sorry, I'll go back and just go back. So that was Alex's there. So I'll do that with the next one. So hopefully that's good for you, Alex. If there's anything else you want to say about that, do let us know. And I'll pop on to the next question or comment, which is from Dennis. And Dennis is saying, I saw a lot of different human faces, felt cold, and remembered a dream about a Mercedes. My eyes started smarting at the end. All seems a bit random. Well, it can sometimes seem like that, Dennis. And, you know, as you deepen into awareness, it can sometimes be a bit like dream language. Our dreams can appear, can appear to be at the normal level of consciousness, can appear to be quite random images or events, but they're things that are arising from deeper in the psyche. And if we connect with them, and especially if it brings up emotions or feelings, and Dennis is saying he felt cold here, then there is something that consciousness is showing you, and they may mean specific things to you. It's not stuff to you to come out from the space of the mind, but it's about witnessing whatever is there from the space of awareness. And the seeing of a lot of different human faces could mean many things, but if you look at this metaphor here, and I said that we're all these, we sort of think of ourselves as the body-mind experience, these points of light at the end. Actually, the awareness is expressing itself in infinite variety, in many forms. So at the ultimate level, the level of the silence at the base of the lamp here, we are all of those expressions. So that might be one reason why you're seeing all of these manifestations of human faces, because we are witnessing from a much deeper level. The feeling of feeling cold, in meditation, there can be many sensations, but when a coldness comes up, typically, and not unusually, what that can be is a release of old energy. It can feel like a shivery coldness, and an older energy being like, in the same way, in the reverse, feeling hot, what that is typically a resistance within us being burnt through with the power of awareness. So this is not an unusual meditative experience. And the dream about the Mercedes, well, that could be, what does a Mercedes mean to you? Is that pointing at the idea of the body-mind experience being like a car? So what does a Mercedes speak to you? Don't you think about that consciously? There's something about the energy of that the awareness is trying to show you. There may be many experiences in meditation. You talked about eyes smarting at the end. Again, all of this is arising from awareness from a deeper space. Something is likely being shown or released from your body in that process. So I trust those fairly general pointers are helpful to you, Dennis. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to move on now. And if there's anything else you want to add. Okay, so Dennis has added, I'll go to that. Luxury, but also the car Princess Diana died in. Okay, so the Mercedes represents luxury, but also the car Princess Diana died in. So this actually tells me a little bit more, Dennis, because on the one level, it's pointing to luxury. But if it's pointing to the car that Princess Diana died in, then from a self-realization perspective, it's worth being aware that the realization of the self as infinite silence, infinite awareness, infinite consciousness is like a death. One insight that came to me is that life is death. Life is death. Now, this isn't the death of the body vehicle in self-realization terms. What it is the death of the identification with, attachment to, and the belief that all you are is the body-mind. So there's a possibility here, Dennis, that what awareness is inviting you to see and to be open to is the death of that mistaken belief that all you are is the body-mind. And that could be the reason why this showed up now in this meditation, because it is through the vehicle of awareness-rooted meditation and spiritual inquiry that will open up to that life is death experience, the death of the belief and the realization that our essence is in fact life eternal, the infinite silence, the infinite awareness. So this starts to speak more deeply now, and is not as random as it first appears. So I trust that makes some sense. So if you want to ask any more about that or add any further comment, I'll come back to that. But whilst I'm doing that, I'm just going to go back to Alex's response to the insight I was offering there, to his experience. So that's great that you feel that way, Alex. That's be in that silence, just remain as that silent awareness. And Dennis is saying thank you. So thank you, Dennis, for sharing. So I'm going to move along now to the next question. So this is from Jolene, has picked this one up for me from elsewhere. A question from an anonymous follower. How do we remain at peace whilst keeping boundaries and not people pleasing? How do we remain at peace whilst keeping boundaries and not people pleasing? So the key thing to understand here, whoever this is, and thank you for sharing your question. The key thing to understand here, and the whole purpose of the self-realization and meditation journey, is to be open to, excuse me a moment, the realization that the source of this peace that you're looking for is actually your very essence. So going back to our fiber optic lamp metaphor, where I said the base here represents the infinite silence, the infinite awareness. What's realized in self-realization is that we are eternally that. And that is always at peace, irrespective of what's going on in the world. No matter what is going on in the world. Our essence is always at peace. Peace isn't from the mind. Peace is not of the mind. Listen carefully to what I said there. Peace is not of the mind. Peace is of the awareness within, that's always untouched, unblemished, and unmoved. So some key questions that we can ask ourselves whenever we're feeling like we're going off track and are not at peace. This is for everybody now, not just the person asking the question. Who or what is the one that is aware of whatever phenomena is here? So it might be stress, anxiety, or whatever. Who or what is aware of that? Now, the mind is going to say to that, me, but you can't be both the stress and aware of that, and also aware of the feelings in your arms, your legs, your breath, and all these other phenomena. What you're eventually going to see is that the answer to that question, who or what is aware of whatever's here, whether it be breath, emotion, feeling, sensation, whatever, lack of peace, is actually awareness itself. And then the next key question that comes after that, is that which is aware affected by whatever phenomena is here? And we're going to eventually see that the answer to that is no, it's not. It just simply is silently aware. Now, to give you an example of this, I'm hoping you could hear the Ting Sha bells. Let me just take this question off the screen for a moment. Let me know if you can hear these Ting Sha bells. I'll just ting them one more time. Notice what's happening here, folks. So the bells made a loud sound when I wrote them together. And that is a sound wave. And it's like a wave in the ocean. It just simply arises, reaches a peak. And then because I didn't keep on putting them together, it fades to silence. It fades to silence. Now, every emotion, every phenomena will do that if you don't engage with it any further. So if there's an emotion arises, a lack of, being stressed or not at peace or whatever, what mind will do is try to engage with it. But if you just simply allow it to be there and feel it without any judgment, wherever it's come from, and just watch and trust awareness, trust the silent awareness, then there's only one thing that's going to happen to that emotion. It will fade to silence. It will dissolve of its own accord, and you won't have to do anything. You won't have to do anything. That, my friends, is the essence of meditation. It's the essence of self-realization, and it's the essence of peace. So how do we remain at peace? We have to be open to recognizing that our essence is always at peace, and we are that, whilst whatever phenomena is appearing in life, This is what the whole meditative journey and self-realization journey is about. And if you can be open to that and recognize that, and it is a journey and it tends to go in phases, then this will eventually bring you to a constant state of being at peace no matter what is happening in the world. So this is the how-to, if you like, is to be open to recognizing that unchanging awareness. And that will also deal with the second part of the question about boundaries and not people-pleasing. Because when you realize that you are this, you'll not only see that you are this unchanging awareness, everyone else is too. And whilst we don't condone inappropriate behaviors from others, we'll be able to make conscious choices, whether it be to walk away from a situation or a person, or say calmly but clearly, you know, this is not for me, and, you know, from a space of peace and love. What this will also do on the people-pleasing part is that the more you're centered in this essence of whom you really are, the choices you're going to make are going to be heart-based choices. People-pleasing is basically coming from conditioning, the need to please people, to keep them happy, is a mind activity, is an ego mind thing. When you're at peace within, then you won't feel the need. You won't feel the need to people please. In fact, you will come from a place of peace and compassion and stillness. And the whole journey of self-realization, of meditation, is about dissolving all of these false beliefs, mistaken beliefs, characteristics that we've built up into this personality. They will gradually fall away effortlessly and silently. And yes, we will have to face the stuff, but we will then be coming from a much deeper space of heart-based awareness. So that's a brief summary. I could go on all night about that. So hopefully that's helped you a bit, the person who asked that question. So I'm going to come to Jill Lamb Mayfield, who's in Indiana. And she came on during the meditation and listened quietly. I haven't caught your talks in years. So good. I got back in tune for a few minutes. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that that's been beneficial to you, Jill, and nice to see you here. So thank you for sharing that. There's plenty of meditations, talks on both my Facebook page, which is where you are now, and also on Insight Timer. So you can either go to the videos section of my page to look up old streams and meditations, or you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Philip Wade, Infinite Silence, Self-Realization. There's 275 videos on that channel, the YouTube channel, but there's also quite a few on the Facebook page as well. So do look up those, and do look on the YouTube channel as well if that calls you. Let me scroll down to see if there's any other things that I've missed. So Patricia was saying, oh yeah, that's about in relation to the Tingsha bell. She loved the vibration in my body. Good. And I can see Rita's joined us as well from Texas. So welcome to you. There we go. There's the crikey, that's a long version. There is a shorter version, but you can click on that link. I don't know if you guys can see that comment if you're on Facebook. but Ben has put the link to my YouTube channel. There is a shorter version of that, which basically goes youtube.com, so the words youtube.com, and I think it's /infinite_silence. Thanks, but yeah, Ben's just clarifying that that's the subscription link. So, but if you were to type into your browser youtube.com/ the letter @ symbol, infinite, and then _silence, that will take you to my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to it from there. It is worth subscribing because it gives you notifications of when I upload a new video. If you can't find it the ways that we've just identified there, just put Philip Wade Infinite Silence YouTube into your browser, and that should find my channel. So thank you for clarifying that, Ben, and trust that's been helpful to you as well, Jill. So let me just take that off. So I can't see any more questions at the moment, or experiences that people want to share. So what I was going to do is I also was going to just pick up on, as part of the stream, some of you may have heard a quote that's often attributed, excuse me a moment, to Nelson Mandela, but it's actually from a lady called Marianne Williamson, who wrote a book called A Return to Love, which was based on her understanding of A Course in Miracles. It's quite a famous quote, and I'm not going to read all of it out because it's quite long. But what I wanted to do is draw out some key elements from it and draw out the key pointings to it from a self-realization perspective. So the quote begins, she actually starts off with something like, as I understand the Course, or as I interpret the Course in Miracles, that is. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? And then it goes on to say, oops, sorry. Actually, who are we not to be? We are a child of God. Now, the bit I want to sort of draw out there is this bit about the deepest fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Now, why might that be? You see, what happens is, as we believe ourselves to be, and that we have the belief that all we are is the body-mind experience. If I just bring back up my little slide here earlier. There we go. And I'll just take off the banner. Just bear me a moment. If we believe ourselves to be only the body-mind, as I use the metaphor of a car, you're not your car. The body-mind is something that you have, but it's not that which you are. If you believe yourself to be only that, then this creates an experience of contraction from the essence that you truly are, which is the whole of this screen, really. It's the ocean of infinite silence, infinite awareness, and that creates the polarities of love and fear. Now, the ego mind, the body-mind experience, the ego-mind experience is basically constantly striving to keep itself safe. And it does that by virtue of its beliefs. And so we'll constantly strive. Now, when those beliefs come under challenge, whether it be, and in this case, through the power of awareness or silence, then what happens is that fear can arise. And the reason that fear arises is because the identity self, which is not the true self, the ego mind belief that we have, basically its greatest fear is its own demise. And it equates that demise with death of the body vehicle. So as the power of awareness starts to arise within us, a number of things happen, but all of the stuff we've been holding within us, within the center part of the screen here, the emotional pain body, they come up to be seen. And the core one of those is the belief that all you are is the body mind and that it's going to die. And so basically this second part of the core, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. The identity self fears the power of that essence. However, that fear is only an appearance. It's actually an invitation. And if that fear was felt and witnessed from that space of silent awareness, just like I was saying in response to the anonymous questioner earlier, just like the Tingsha bell, that fear, however strong it might be, will arise, be seen, be felt, and dissolve just through the power of awareness alone. Just through that. No effort required. So the quote there from Marianne Williamson is actually accurate. What it's pointing to is this infinite awareness, this infinite silence, this infinite essence within. And the identity self will fear that. But that fear isn't one we need to fear, if you know what I mean. That's like a fear of fear. But if you trust the awareness, trust the silent awareness, that fear will dissolve of its own accord. And thus, again, is the essence of meditation and the essence of self-realization. So I trust all that makes sense. I'm just going to come back to the comments just to see if there's anything else. So has anybody else got anything else that they want to ask or share from what we've explored so far? I can't see anything burning at the moment. So whilst I'm just waiting to see if there's anything else there, I'll just pick up a little bit more on these inquiries that we did in the meditation. And then if there's nothing else, I'll probably go to the harp and close the stream after that. So in the meditation, there were 4 things that we looked at. The simple question, who am I? Then it was, who am I with nothing to prove? Then it was, who am I before relationship, which was the bit that drew a key experience from Alex. And then, who am I before this body-mind? All of the questions people have asked me, and they've asked me thousands of questions over the years, all of them ultimately boil down to the first inquiry there, who am I? It's the ultimate resolution of that inquiry to its ultimate point that will lead to the realization of the self. And one of the insights I've offered many times goes like this: who am I? Who am I? The question dissolves the questioner, and the self is realized. Who am I? The question dissolves the questioner and the self is realized. What that's pointing to is that the one that has questions is the identity self, the ego mind experience. That's where the questions are coming from. And it's the dissolution of that illusory identity that all we are is the body mind that leads to the dissolution of that belief and the realization that we are infinite silence, infinite awareness, just like in that iceberg metaphor I was showing you. So the purpose behind the inquiry, they all ultimately boil down to the who am I one. The reason I add in things like nothing to prove, before relationship, before this body mind, is typically as I add those bits to that, they represent different entry points to that same awareness, to that same realization. And different questions can open up something different for different people. So people can get different responses depending upon what the inquiry is. But ultimately, all of them boil down to who am I? And Patricia's just added shared there, I like the question, who am I without memory? And that is another version. That is another version of the who am I question. And it's a powerful one because when that one's asked inside, is because we tend to live from memory and imagination. And our imagination is often colored unconsciously by our memory. What that question will do when it's asked inside and not analyzed from the mind, it takes you beyond the mind, before the mind. And this awareness, this essence that I'm talking about, is before and beyond the mind. So this is another powerful inquiry that we can build into our meditation, I have many variations that I use at different times, and depending on how I'm approaching it will depend on which inquiries, which inquiries I might include. So thank you for sharing that, Patricia. Jill is saying, will I repeat 3 and 4 titles? Oh, I think you mean the questions. So if you don't mean, if you mean something else, let me know. But the questions that we asked were, who am I? Number 1. Number 2 was, who am I with nothing to prove? Number 3 was, who am I before relationships? So number 3 was, who am I before relationships? And number 4 was, who am I before this body mind? Who am I before this body mind? All of those are arising from awareness to invite you to look beyond the limitations of the body-mind experience. The body-mind experience is not wrong, it's actually a beautiful gift, but it's the recognition that there's something greater, something deeper, something much more profound, and something that's eternal. That is our very essence. And it's through the vehicle of this body-mind that this essence comes to know itself in its own experience. So the universe, if you like, has chosen to express itself as Jill. And it does this in infinite variety. And so the universe would not be complete without the expression that's Jill or Patty or Alex or Rita. So the universe is chosen to express itself uniquely in each of our forms, and each of us will go on a unique journey to open eventually, whether in this lifetime or another, to the realization of our very essence as infinite silence or infinite awareness. So this is the importance of the inquiry. This is the importance of the inquiry. And inquiry and meditation, infinite silence meditation, awareness rooted meditation, are not separate things. They are different, if you like, they're two parts of the same whole, two aspects. And this is why realized beings for millennia have recommended both meditation and inquiry, because they are guaranteed ways to open you up from the inside. Thus is the importance of awareness-rooted meditation, and the infinite silence meditation, of which there are many versions on my YouTube channel, is an awareness-rooted meditation that came from the silence itself. And the inquiries work hand in hand with that. And going back to the title of our stream tonight, A Return to Love. As Alex saw in his experience, a clarity and experiential seeing that his essence, our essence, is in fact that infinite silence, that infinite essence itself. So that was a beautiful seeing and a beautiful share. Good. So there's an interesting question here, which I'll just pop up on the screen, that Dennis says, are you self-realized? So to be able to answer this question, there's actually a misunderstanding in the question here, which is, and this is why I've put it up, I want to sort of draw it out, because whilst we might say or perceive somebody such as the Buddha or Jesus or Krishna or whatever, and think of them as an individual being, what's seen upon realization is that the body-mind experience is something that you have, but you are not that. You are, in fact, the infinite silence, the infinite awareness, the infinite consciousness itself. And it's that, and only that, infinite silence, infinite awareness, infinite consciousness, that recognizes itself as that. And so, yes, it will become manifest in the form of the Buddha or Jesus, and people might say he or she is a realized being. But actually, the truth of the matter is that realization has flowered, and that they are not the body-mind experience. So, and the wisdom that's being shared in over millennia now, whilst we might attribute it to Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and many other realized beings, Philip Wade, whatever, actually it's not Philip's, it's not Jesus's, it's not the Buddha's wisdom, it's the wisdom of the universe itself. So yes, realization has flowered in this form. But if we were to say Philip is a realized being, that's actually a slight misunderstanding, because the realization is not personal. It's not personal. And it doesn't really matter whether people believe that's flowered or not here in this form. Really, what's important, Dennis, and everybody else listening, what's really important is what does your heart say about that? Go within and see what your heart says about that. Because all of our essence is this. The only, should we say, experiential difference between the realization, excuse me, that's flowered in one being and those in which it hasn't is belief. Those beings in which it has not flowered still believe, whether consciously or otherwise, that they are the body-mind experience. And when that belief has dissolved, then it becomes self-evidentially clear that one has always been this realized essence. So it's not ultimately, it's not a personal thing. And it doesn't really matter whether you perceive what I say here. It's really, what does your heart say about this? And do you feel called to this from the heart space? If the answer to that question is yes, then good. And if the answer to that is no, then you know what to do. It's like that, folks. It's a non-personal realization. So just to, there we go, share with what Dennis's response to that. This is actually, and so it's a really important question, not specifically because of Philip or anything, but to understand that this realization is not personal. Yes, it can be made manifest in a specific form, but the realization itself is not personal. Is not personal. And this also leads to another important dimension to this, which is it can be a spiritual trap in its own right. And this is the use of the term guru, coming from the East, coming from the Sanskrit. Now, what can happen is that people sort of say he or she is my guru. And that's not strictly speaking correct. That's not strictly speaking correct. Because it's not the individual body-mind experience that is the guru. The true guru, and there's another word in Sanskrit, which is Satguru, G-U-R-U, S-A-T-G-U-R-U, Satguru. That's one of the spellings. And what this does, it clarifies it a little bit, because the word Sat, S-A-T, in Sanskrit means true guru. And the true guru is not a person. I've got an article about this on my website, actually. The true guru is not a person. As in the same way that the wisdom that's being pointed at, whomever it is that's sharing it, is not personal to them. The true guru is the infinite silence itself, the infinite awareness, the infinite consciousness. So one can't take ownership, if you like, of the wisdom. It's not a personal thing. It's universal, if that makes sense. So what Dennis's question there has led to is some very important pointing, some very important insights about the nature of this realization. It's not personal, it's universal. And that's really important for you to embrace that, folks. Really important for you to embrace that. Let me just go to the next one. So Serge Eugene is just sharing a very nice message with us. Holy, holy, holy blessings to all of you, sending unconditional love, sending divine love, agape love to all of you. That's beautiful, Serge. Thank you very much for sharing that message. And as I've said many times already on this stream tonight, the source of that agape love, that pure love, is in fact the infinite silence itself, the infinite consciousness, the infinite awareness itself. And you, Serge, all of us are that. Not because this guy, Philip, is saying so, but because that is what will be realized. And as that is realized, it will become capital S self-evident, true self-evident as infinite silence, infinite awareness, infinite consciousness. We are that, always have been, always will be. And you're here to realize that. So thank you for that beautiful message, Serge. I'll just hop over a couple of comments and I'll come back to them just to pick up on Serge's response to that. And I'll come back to Pam's comment in a moment. And Serge is obviously very grateful for what he's referring to as the teaching. And this leads me to another important insight to share with you all, because whilst it is common and understandable for the things that I'm sharing to be referred to as teachings, because experientially it will feel like that in the body-mind experience until this has been realized. But in truth, it's not a teaching. In truth, it's not a teaching, because there is ultimately nothing for you to learn. The words self, capital S, self, realization, that second word, realization, is very important. Very important. It's our realization, a bit like, oh my gosh, I am that. I, infinite I, am that. And that being the infinite silence, infinite awareness. And not only are you that right now, this moment, thanks, Dennis, for that comment. Yes, I remember coming to see you in Rodney Street. Not only are you that now, we've always been that, always will be that. And it's the belief in the case of mistaken identity that makes us believe and experience that we're not that. So whilst we might refer to teachings, ultimately there is nothing for us to learn, but only to realize. Only to realize. So thanks for sharing that, Eugene. They do get called teachings, but ultimately there is nothing to learn. So Pam, what's Pam saying? Hello from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Hi Pam, long time no see. I first had the pleasure of listening to back in 2020, Infinite Silence, Peace and Love group. Yes, that was when Jolene invited me to do a series of streams. I think quite a lot of those were during lockdown, during the COVID era. And we did, I think I did about 40 or 50 streams on the Peace and Love group at that time. Lots of people new to meditation at that time. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for rejoining us. As I was saying to Jill earlier, there's lots of resources, 275 videos on my YouTube channel. many meditations, many insights, many live stream recordings. So do have a look at those. And you can also check out the video section on Facebook, which is where you are now. So thank you for that, Pam. Dennis has said he needs to go. Right, so what's Serge saying? Yes, you are right. You can help me to confirm many things I wanted to. Good, Serge, so that's good. You see that ultimately, you know, whilst people have asked me thousands of questions over the years, provided a lot of insight. You know, what I see a lot of is aha moments, moments of clarity, moments of seeing, like a light bulb going on. And it's not because I've taught them anything. It's because they've realized that that knowing is already there inside. That knowing. So when you have the moment of clarity, that light bulb moment, it isn't that you've learned something, it's actually that you've realized that which was already present. So hopefully that's helpful to Serge and everybody. Good. So that's helpful to confirm. So, and this is where events such as this, where we gather together in a community, we open to the silent awareness within, and we inquire. And yes, people will ask questions. What I found over the years is that one person's question is really everybody's question. And as people ask those questions, often people can have the experience, other people can have the experience like, oh, cracky, there's a question I didn't even know I had. So this is where the questions are proved very helpful, because every question gives us an opportunity, an invitation to explore a misunderstanding and then clear up that misunderstanding. So all your sharing tonight, folks, is very, very helpful for that purpose. How are we doing for time? Yeah, so we've been going for an hour and 50 minutes, so that's quite long. So I planned to go for up to 2 hours. So I'll plan to close in a few minutes. So if there's anything else burning, we've got a little bit of time for that. But if not, thank you so much for being here. I just want to say a couple of thank yous whilst I'll just see if anything else crops up for anybody. One to Ben, who's an editor on my YouTube channel. He's been helping on the moderation on the YouTube side. I'm doing this from a tool called StreamYard. And the other is to Jolene, who's with me here on StreamYard in the background, and who was the person that typed in that comment from another source earlier. So thank you to both of those. When you're trying to do these multi-streams, it can be quite quite complex, as you might imagine. So and I know many of you will know Jolene. So I'll just put that back up again and get back to the comments. So Jolene, okay, so you're thank you, Jolene, and thank you to Ben. So it doesn't appear there's anything else burning. The good thing about these streams on StreamYard, which I do them when I'm streaming them to both Facebook and YouTube Live, is that it's automatically there as available as a replay immediately after the stream. So even if people haven't been able to watch it live, they can watch the replay and it'll be available to you. So you can look out for that immediately after the stream. If you missed the beginning and you want to see the beginning, you'll be able to play that back immediately, and you'll be able to play it back tomorrow, the next day, next week. It will simply be there. It'll have the title, A Return to Love. So it's available. It'll be available on my Facebook page. It'll be available on my YouTube channel. You should be able to see the chat comments if you watch it on either YouTube or Facebook, but I've tried to put them on the screen as we've gone through. And what I find is that, by people watching these and then watching them again, people hear more the second and the third time. So if you found something particularly valuable, watch it, leave a gap, and then watch again. And I can guarantee you that you will hear more the second time, the third time. And that's true of my stuff on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Insight Timer. The only other thing left for me to say, I think, is that, here's a good question. Spirit dancing, a return to love. Did I ever leave love? The answer is no. The answer is no, because we are, as I've said on many times on the stream, our very essence, the infinite silence, the infinite consciousness, the infinite awareness, is in fact the source of the experience of love. The reason I used the title, A Return to Love, is that because we have the experience of forgetting, as the realization flowers, it can feel like a return, a remembering, and ultimately it's a realizing. So the truth of the matter is that no, we never did leave. We never, ever, ever left. Even if experientially it feels like that at times in our human lives, this essence has always been here. So thanks for sharing that, Spirit Dancing. And Serge is just saying a big thank you there. So thank you to you, Serge, for sharing. As I say, there's many, many resources, 275 videos on the YouTube channel, lots on Facebook and lots on Insight Timer. So I'm going to close the shortly. I think I just need to see. Jolene's just reminded me of something important. Thank you for that, Jolene. For those of you who may not be aware, a number of other events coming up. One is our retreat in July. It's the weekend of the 20th and 21st of July. I always forget these things, so Jolene just already reminded me. A retreat, 20th and 21st of July. That's available both in person and online. There's, I think, a couple of in-person places left at the moment, and I think there's a few more online spaces. I do them together. So some people join us on Zoom from all around the world, and some people join me here in the Universal Studio. So have a look on my website, which is gatewaylocation.org, gatewaylocation.org, if you're interested in that retreat. I know some of you are coming to that. Maria joined us earlier, she's still here. And Ben and Jolene will be on that, and Stefan. So the spaces on that retreat if you want to join, whether online or in person. Also, in a week's time, a week from now, Ben's posted the link to the retreat there, which I'm going to put that on the screen. That's on the website. A week from now, there'll be some other streams, and let me get the sequence right here. Spare me a second. I'm just going to look on my website myself just to make sure I get the sequence right. One moment, folks. I'll just read them off the screen just to make sure. So where are we? We're on that one now. So yeah, I've put it in a strange order on the website for some reason. Anyhow, a week from there's a Zoom call which you can also book on the website on the 11th of July. A Zoom call on the 11th of July. I think also I'm right in saying on Insight Timer on the 4th of July, I've got two streams, one at 8:20 in the morning and one at 8:20 in the evening. And I've just realized I've not put those on the website page, but they are in the newsletter. So if you're on Insight Timer, I think I'm right in saying there's two streams on that day, one in the morning, one in the evening. And then 11th of July, a Zoom call, which you can book for a small donation on my website. So look out for in the shop section for that one. And then on the 18th of July, I'm back here on YouTube. I'm back here on YouTube and on Facebook with the Essence of Meditation. So I just realized I need to correct a couple of things on the website there. But if you've been signed up to the newsletter, you'll already have all those details. So there's, for the next several Thursdays, there's something going on. So look on the website for further details. I'll correct the events page. Go to the shop section for the Zoom one. Go to the shop section for the retreat or the events section, and you'll see the retreat there if that calls you. So there's quite a lot going on. So thank you for reminding me about all of that. I think that's everything done. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us wherever you are in the world. I think we've had people from the USA, Sweden, and Blossom is in Australia. And I'm not sure where Serge is from, possibly France. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Have a look on the website for more resources. See you again live in a week's time. And I think that one is on Insight Timer, if you're on Insight Timer. And then after that, it's Zoom. And then after that, it's YouTube and Facebook again. Bye, folks. And I'll leave you with a little bit of harp music to finish off in a moment. So just bear with me. I'll find that. This is going to say stream starting in 2 minutes, but you can ignore that because obviously it's a stream ending. So thank you, Pam, for sharing that comment. That's very nice of you. And as I say, the replay, it will be available immediately available after this, as per Stefan's comment there. So I'm going to close with this harp, and I'll see you all in a week's time. Thank you very much.